Recording has begun.
Thank you, Sandy. And if I can just confirm, it looks like our live streaming has begun as well. Please begin, Madam Chair, when you're ready.
Thank you. Good afternoon. My name is Sarah Gelgor, and I'm the chair of the Compliance Audit Committee. I'm joined by my fellow committee members, Lawrence D'Souza and Ramin Faraji. The committee administrator has confirmed that we do have quorum, so I'll now call the meeting number 5 of the Compliance Audit Committee to order. Welcome, everyone. The meeting is being held using the city's WebEx technology with members and staff connecting by video conference or telephone and is open for the public to observe. Because we're meeting remotely, we ask for your patience with any delays and technical issues. I'd like to ask everyone to please keep your microphones on mute unless you're speaking. Members, please ensure that your video remains turned on at all times. As part of each agenda item, I will ask members to raise their hands or unmute their mic if they wish to ask a question or to speak. When voting, members, please raise your hand in front of your camera to indicate your vote. Although we are in different locations and meeting remotely today, the Compliance Audit Committee acknowledges the land we are meeting on is the traditional territories of many nations, including the Mississaugas of the Credit, the Anishinaabe, the Chippewa, the Haudenosaunee, and the Wendat peoples, and is now home to many diverse First Nations, Inuit, and Métis peoples. We also acknowledge that Toronto is covered by Treaty 13 with the Mississaugas of the Credit. Before we begin, I'd like to note that the meetings of the committee are public, except for a few exceptions allowed under the City of Toronto Act, such as receiving advice from the solicitor. Members, are there any declarations of interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? If you do have an interest, please raise your hand or unmute your mic to let me know. Right, I'm not seeing any expressions. So may I have a motion to confirm the minutes of the meeting on July 24th, 2023?
Lawrence.
Second.
Thank you. Has that been recorded?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe you do have a mover for the minutes. You just need to vote if you wish to pass that motion.
Okay, thank you. So all those in favor, please raise your hands. Yes, and there are none opposed. The motion therefore carries. We have one item on the agenda today. It's item EA 5.1, which is a report from staff on the appointment of external auditors by the Compliance Audit Committee. Members, do you have any questions of staff? And again, if you do, please raise your hand or unmute your mic to let me know. Okay. Oh,
Is it?
Member D'Souza, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, is the question related to this specific issue we are going to discuss today or vote
Yes.
on?
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it's a kind of vendor of records we have, and how these audits are going to be assigned. We have 2 audits, and we have got a few auditors empaneled here.
Thank you. And can I ask a member of staff to please respond?
On a rotational basis, with consideration for the lowest hourly rates first, and then that second would be availability to conduct the audits.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions?
Madam Chair, through you.
Go ahead. Yes, please.
Were there any, have these, any one of these, I guess, candidate organizations or firms, were they given any insight into the specific case and the nature and extent of it?
For you, Madam Chair,
Certainly.
No, they did not ask about. They might be privy to it because it's public information, but we did not provide them with any additional information about the 2 audits that were that the committee required to have conducted.
Okay, and I have several questions. So presumably we would run a conflicts check once we do proceed with the audits in the event that there's either personal or other relationships, correct?
Yes, through you, Madam Chair. Yes, we absolutely do that. We ensure that there's no conflict of interest within the actual ward for, say, conducting maybe other candidates' personal audits for their campaigns, and we do relationship checks as well.
Okay, thank you. And my second question, if I may, so we have this committee has recommended 2 audits, and there are 5 firms that are identified within staff's recommendation. So of the 5, 1 is priced at a lower amount. The other 4 all came in at the same amount. And so would it be one firm conducting both audits, or would we start with the lesser expensive one and then proceed to one of the other 4? And if that is the case, how are we going to decide if the price is the same for all 4?
Okay, so through you, Madam Chair, I'll answer that. Of the 5 auditors, 4 of them have contracts up to $100,000, and 1 has contracts up to $75,000. That was simply based on William Molson had the lowest hourly rates, and we anticipated for him to conduct an audit, it would not reach the $100,000 threshold for during the 2022 to 26 period. So we would have, for example, we'll likely have William Molson, if he's available, conduct one of the 2 audits that are already required. And then we would have BDO, the company with the second lowest hourly rates, do the second audit. And then the rotation would work the same should there be any audits required from the compliance audit period for the mayoral by-election that was run in the month of June.
Okay, thank you. And another question has come to mind. Have we worked with any of these accounting firms or audit firms in the past?
Yes, we have worked with William Molson. We have worked with MNP. They both did the previous audits from the 2018 election. And we had also worked with Ken Fraze, is part of the Delta Consulting Group, and he had done compliance audits on behalf of the committee before as well.
Okay, and we were satisfied with the process. There were no concerns for using these suppliers again.
No, none that would prevent us from using them.
Okay, thank you. Fellow members, do you have
Sorry,
go ahead.
Madam Chair. Just been reminded, BDO has conducted audits for the over contributions, which they are actually in the middle of doing now. And we will, once their report is ready, we'll meet with you again. So they didn't do compliance audits, but they did do over contributions from public contributors.
Okay, thank you. I believe Member Faraji had his hand up.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Through you, thank you, Mr. McLean, for all your efforts in procuring these candidate firms and also answering our questions. You had mentioned that these audits will cost up to either 75K or 100K. I'm just wondering if you could perhaps highlight for us the scope of work. And what I'm really keen on understanding is if there is any contingent fees there based on whether these individuals or the firms have to appear before a court or anything like that, or is it just limited to the audit and the audit report?
So for you, Madam Chair, we actually included in the agreements the provision in case they go to the prosecution stage like we did coming out of the 2018 election. In that case, sometimes there is a need to have a purchase order amendment done to the contract to increase the amount. In the initial contracts, we just base it on what we know in the moment and anticipated costs, but we don't know the complexity of any audits until the auditor has actually sat down and begun the process.
Thank you.
Any further questions? All right, so with that, may I have a motion, please, to adopt the staff recommendations? Member Faraji, thank you. All those in favor, raise your hands. Thank you. I see none opposed. The motion therefore carries. And with that, we've concluded our business for today. We are adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good afternoon.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everyone.
I
All of